It's the last few days of the holidays, the summer holidays in South Africa, and we're just a few days away from the schools opening, and kids have a long list of items from the schools, and as parents, you need to set out and get those supplies. And back to school shopping over the years has really grown to be stressful and is getting more and more expensive. In fact, it's sort of like a whole new shopping season second to Christmas. So today on the show, I'm giving you a few strategies that you can implement to cut back on the raising costs of school supplies.
Welcome to the Wealth Nation podcast, a podcast for every mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, and wife, and the men who are smart enough to tune in. The Wealth Nation podcast brings you all you need to know about investments, business, property investments, personal finance, and all-around financial wellness. Here is your host, Yolanda Rose.
Thanks for joining me today. This is your host, Yolanda Rose, and every week I bring you easy, actionable tips, content, and strategies that you can use to manage your money better and to grow generational wealth. Thanks for joining me on the show today. If you're a long-time listener, please leave me a review on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Financially Fabulous Females. Even send me a message if there's some specific content that you need me to cover. Send me a message and I will cover that content for you. And if you're new to the show, thanks for joining us. This is episode 34. You've missed 33 episodes, so go back, download those episodes, listen to it. We've given you some really great value. And if you haven't downloaded a podcast app already, consider doing so you never miss a show. Once you download the podcast app, you subscribe to the Wealth Nation podcast, and every week you'll get an update of when I release a new episode. The Wealth Nation podcast is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a seller and producer of spoken audio entertainment, information, and educational programming on the internet. Audible sells digital audiobooks, radio and TV programs, and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. For a 30-day free trial of Audible, go to www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com/audible. So back to school is its own shopping season, and whether your child is starting grade R or heading off to university, you can buy them everything that they need without really breaking the bank. So here's a couple of strategies that will help you become a savvy back to school shopper this year. Now, I don't know about you, but last year the schools gave us a long list of items. I mean, things like roll-ups. Like, imagine, I've got 3 kids, right? And each of them need 4 sets of roll-ups at $45 a pop. That's 12. I mean, do you really need that many roll-ups? It's crazy. I don't remember getting these many items from school. Well, I went to primary school in the early 90s, and government supplied a lot, especially when it came to our writing material and colors. But it wasn't the fancy stuff that kids are needing today. It's unreal, the amount of things and the variety of things. I mean, do you really need 4 sets of roll-ups, then another 2 sets of 24-pack of crayons, then color pencils and felt pens? So much a color. I mean, really, does it have to be so much? And let's not even get started on the price of print. It is crazy. And when the school list comes, it's not just any kind of glue stick. It has to be print. And I think the schools have gone way overboard, especially with affiliations with stationery suppliers, where they pick the most expensive brand when a cheaper brand, especially like an item like Prit. Okay, Prit is pretty superior, but there are other brands that work just like well, such as Croxley and Marlin, and the price of pencils, 50-60 rand for 3 HB pencils. It is crazy. They are milking us during the season, and it has to stop. And hopefully the ideas that I give you today help you become shopping savvy when it comes to back to school shopping, and it's us versus the retailers at this point. So the first thing you can do is do a complete sweep of supplies in your house. Now, believe it or not, you might already have plenty of school supplies lying around your home, especially the excess that was sent home from schools last year, or stuff that you haven't sent to school and that's lying around unused. So go around, check the cupboards, check the office, the study, wherever you hide your hidden stationery. If you're like me, you're hiding stationery from kids, especially the younger kids. Go and seek them out and pile them up in one central location. Okay, wherever you choose to keep them, in the dining room or wherever. So start collecting all of that and see what you have and compare that to your kids' stationery list. What do you have and what you don't have? So instead of buying duplicate of stuff, I know so many times I go out and buy a ruler only to find a ruler stuck behind a cupboard. So make that effort before you buy anything. Go and do a supply sweep at home.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Tuned In. Now back to the show.
Another strategy that you can use is to do a supply swap. So before you head out to go shopping, for instance, maybe you have extra reams of leftover printing paper from last year, or pencils that you bought on a sale, but you haven't used it all. Maybe another friend or family member has several packs of crayons that she's bought and she's willing to trade for some paper. So talk to friends and family who have school-aged children and see if they have extra supplies that they would be interested in trading. Now, another thing that I have found, especially this season, is to not shop at the big branded stores like Game, Pick and Pay and Checkers, but shop around at the thrift stores. Now, I'm not quite familiar with the rest of the country, but here in Durban, the most affordable places that I have found for stationery supplies have been the smaller family-owned stores, or even the Chinese shop. Now, every community has their own Chinese shop. In every community you go to in Durban, you could find one. But we have the bigger plaza-style shops like the one at Seacow Lake and another one at Umbilo Road. And those people, they don't really advertise because they're just darn cheap anyway. So go and check them out. Let that be your first stop. And if you can't get your everything there, then consider the bigger franchise stores to cover up what you don't really have. My recommendations for these thrift stores this year is one, Take and Pay. Take and Pay is based in Chatsworth, but I am aware that there are other branches around Durban, and they've got their school shopping sale right up till the 31st of January. So if you are a parent that can hold off shopping for that long, consider doing that, because that's what I plan to do. And the next major retailer, a small retailer, is Mayfair in Mubeni. Now, they sent out a pamphlet a couple of weeks ago, and their prices, you could literally save hundreds per child by just shopping in these stores, especially when it comes to exercise books, pencils, glue sticks. There are huge price differences at these stores compared to the big retailers. Now, when it comes to your kids' school uniform, I mean, some schools, like I went to an Indian government school, so we always use the white dresses, with the black or the blue belts and the school tie. But a lot of schools these days have their own custom uniform with their monogram and all of that. So if your kids are at one of those schools, you're going to have to shop early, because these things really get sold out pretty soon. But the nice thing about the whites and the grays or the khakis, they're available anywhere and everywhere and throughout the year. But while it's important to watch prices on the small items, you have to really spend time and energy looking at the big ticket items. So you're better off using the limited time and energy to save on bigger ticket items such as electronics, financial or scientific calculators. There are huge price differences, especially when it comes to items like dictionaries. You got to buy an English dictionary, an Afrikaans dictionary, and it's not like your kids can share, because they each got to take it to their own classes. So consider buying those things secondhand. A lot of the older kids will be moving on to newer books, and they can easily sell those. I mean, depending on how they looked after it, they can easily resell those at to secondhand, to the lower grades, or even pass them on to other family members. So look at saving on those big ticket items, because they can easily add up. And finally, the last thing you can do is to make your kids work for their supplies. I remember back in my day, we covered books with the brown paper wrap and the plastic that you could cut. I mean, we did have the slip-on covers and stuff, but those were pricey. And the plastic covers and the brown paper that you put on your books, it lasted the entire year. And from what I see in the stores, you could get all of these Disney and Marvel and all of these crazy characters book covers pre-cut, ready to go, that you'd have to wrap yourself. And these are the things the kids want. I, for one, have never bought it. I never will. Brown paper works perfect at home. And I let the kids decorate the books. I remember when I was in school, the old Mnet TV guides used to come, and throughout the year you used to cut out your favorite cartoon characters and movie stars, and you save it in a little envelope, and come January you're pulling that envelope out and you're picking all your favorites and you're putting it on your favorite subjects. And it's a practice that I've encouraged my kids to follow as well. So when the magazines come, they're cutting and they're keeping their stuff safe, and they do a whole decoration artwork thing on their school supplies. So it just bypasses the whole fancy book covers for their exercise books. So make your kids work for their supplies. They're not entitled to the fancy stuff, especially with the price of everything going up. There's multiple kids to see to. And remember, you're just coming out of hard Christmas season. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to take 3, possibly 4 months to recover from just Christmas and school shopping. All right, so I really hope that these strategies help you kick off the school year in a bumper way for your kids, that they have a blessed year and taking whatever they can from this academic season. So that's it for me on this episode of the Wealth Nation podcast. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to visit our website at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com and sign up for our free investment masterclass.